Would you rather be stuck in the Simpsons universe or the Futurama universe for the rest of your life? Have you ever pooped in somebody's hat before? You're in a burning building. Who would you rather save you? Peter Griffin or Michal Scott?
Welcome to Barcast Comedy, where semi-pro comedians answer crazy would you rather questions at random dive bars across America. Today I'm joined with stand-up comic and host of the True Interrogation Crime podcast, Korey David.
Ayo, I'm a little hurt that you said semi-pro. That's like,
Oh,
man,
no, you're
like,
professional. My bad.
I was like, wow, you're really starting this off with a bang. You're just going to insult me right out of the gate?
Yeah, I just thought of that. I had to change the intro because it's semi-pro comedian Zach and OldSchoolCurt, but he's not
okay.
here, so now I'm trying to figure out how to do the intro.
Yeah, that's fine. I was just saying, like, that was a hurtful way to start. But no, you're right. Hi, nice to be here. Very excited, yeah.
Yeah, I almost started it with Kurt's name, too, but then it would have looked like I was like a schizophrenic. Like, yeah, Kurt's still here.
Well, I would
just
hope
always
that
pretending.
this isn't the first episode anybody's listening to, so they know that somebody else existed at some point, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be funny. I mean, it could
They
be
just
funny
jump
if
in.
you co-host a podcast with a guy that's never there.
We actually considered doing that as an idea,
Yeah.
setting up just a third mic all the time and just like once an episode going to him.
Just like a long-running bit.
Yeah,
That-
but we
that-
never say anything about
That
it.
nobody else understands but you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, it only gets funnier over time.
Those things are fun. Like the inside joke stuff is fun. It's cool.
Yeah.
Inside baseball's great.
Yeah. All right, let's just dive right into this. Have you ever been in a bar fight?
Yeah. So I'm not a fighter. I make like jokes about it and stuff, but it's never really been kind of my go-to. But when I was in college, I had friends that they liked to fight. Like when they would go out on a Friday or a Saturday, at some point in the night, it would turn and they'd be like, let's go find somebody to fight, right? So it wasn't a bar fight per se, but we were in a pizza shop after the bar and they were just trying to poke this guy that like really wasn't having it. You know, he's just like, I want to get pizza and I want to leave, right? Totally understandable. And I'm just kind of watching from a distance. So we go outside, it's their group, our group. And at one point, my friend Steve was like holding a piece of pizza and then you just see him drop it very candidly, like without breaking a stride, goes to punch one of the guys, whiffs completely, and then when he whiffs, one of the other dude's friends just decked Steve in the fucking face, right? So we wind up, the whole thing starts to become a scurry, like I punch somebody, and then when I go down to like, I knock him over, when I go to punch him again, somebody punches me in the face, you know? The cops showed up not that long after that, and everybody just ran away. But I used to be a bouncer too, so I had to break up bar fights.
Yeah. So you're used to dealing with drunks?
Yeah, I worked in the beer industry for a long time too, so I've been around, and I have an alcoholic family, so I've been wrangling in booze hounds for a long time.
Yeah. All right, who would you rather have your back in a bar fight? Taylor Swift or a squirrel?
Taylor Swift for sure, because she would stop that fight, you know? Yeah, because people would be like, oh my God, Taylor Swift's here. Why are we fighting?
And they're starstruck that they see Taylor Swift and then boom, she cans them in the
It
face.
depends. The squirrel, are we talking like Guardians of the Galaxy style raccoon?
No,
you
it's
know?
just your average squirrel.
Just your average
He just
squirrel.
comes running in when you get in fights
Do I
and
have
starts
a
attacking
okay,
people,
so I do have
biting
a
them.
companionship with this squirrel.
Yeah, he's on your
does
side.
serve a purpose.
Yeah, he's just-
Squirrels- yeah, okay. That would be fun.
But
I
same with
think-
Taylor Swift too. Serves a purpose.
Well, she can't
always
throw
get
a
your
punch
back.
to save her life. Everybody knows that. Everybody's good at different things. You know, she's got the voice of an angel. She's very attractive. That's her skill, and that's why I think I would have her back me up because I don't want to fight. So to figure out a way to diffuse this thing as quickly
Taylor
as
Swift's
possible,
going to be the best.
just start a sing along.
She just starts singing.
Yeah, that's
and the
what I'm
whole
saying,
bar
like-
starts following along all of a sudden.
Just a hit that everybody knows. Pick out your white dress. It's a love story, baby. Just say yes. You know, and everybody's like, yeah, what were we fighting about?
Everybody's got their arm around each other.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm probably taking the squirrel though. I just think squirrel's a little vicious.
Well,
if it's a one-on-one bar fight, I think he's got me. He's gonna scare him. But
yes, hi. Like, you go squirrel every time, right? Depends on what you want out of the situation. Like, do you fight? Are you a fighter?
no, I'm not a fighter. I'm about as good as a squirrel. So
Yeah, I kind of got that vibe. You're a squirrel manifested into a person.
yeah, that's why the squirrel. We're a tag team.
Yeah, exactly. You're just like the adult version of him.
Yeah. Yeah, every time the squirrel gets in a fight, he calls me to
Yeah.
help deal with the other squirrels. Same thing.
Yeah, because have you ever gotten into a fight with a squirrel?
No.
It's not fun. So when I was in college, we caught a squirrel one time and we just like kept it in the house. It was not nice. We shouldn't have done that, right? But at one point, I think we had the thing for like a week. and it had chewed out of we had in like a big like terrarium kind of thing, and you had the wiry mesh wire kind of top to it. It wasn't like steel, you know what I mean? It had chewed through that, and it was just running loose in the house. So we're trying to catch this thing, and at one point it jumps onto the curtain like right at my eye level. So I just go grab it, you know? And it turned slowly. It felt like it was happening in slow motion. Turned, looked me in the eye, and just went, and just latched onto my hand. I scream, obviously, and I just throw it across the room. And eventually, we get the thing out of the house. But they're just unpredictable.
Yeah,
I think that's what
I'd be terrified to walk under a tree again after that.
Because if you want to get into a fight, you want somebody that's unpredictable. You want somebody that's crazy, right? You want something that because if you and I were going to get into a fight and we just kind of present ourselves normally, like, okay, I can size you up. I know what's going on, right?
Yeah.
As soon as somebody rips their shirt off and starts sucking down super glue that is had in their pocket, you're like, what the hell is happening, right? I made a big mistake.
I changed my mind on this. All right, would you rather be stuck in the Futurama universe or the Simpsons universe for the rest of your life?
Well, I don't think the future's really going to happen, right? So I would say Simpsons, because that seems like a nice, pleasant life, right?
Yeah.
If I wasn't
You can go get a beer with Homer.
Yeah, if I wasn't doing comedy, I would be living a much simpler life. Probably wouldn't be living in a city. Something with all of the amenities of like a small town, and just seems nice and quaint. All sound pretty good, right? But you can't do comedy in a lot of those spaces. Futurama would be cool because of all the gadgets.
Yeah,
but then
I want to go in one of those space tubes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's neat, right? But then there's got to be so many complications with living in space that they just don't talk about. Because it's TV, right? You got to frill it up. You got to make it nice and juicy. There's just stuff that I don't think I would want to be. I don't want to live a day-to-day life with lasers involved.
There's a higher chance you die instantly.
Much higher.
Some crazy shit.
Yeah, and I mean, what's life anyway, right?
Yeah.
How long do any of us have? So if from the fun aspect, Futurama would be the most fun, I think, and then Simpsons life would be the most.
Nicest to go retire to.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you have a neighbor like Flanders, man, that's just comedy gold, right? He seems like the kind of guy you would actually be great friends with, and then he's just an easy punching bag for your entire life. We like friends like that.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody needs one of those guys.
They can take a joke, and you're like, we're just razzing you, Flanders. It's no big deal. We actually like you a lot. Come to the barbecue on Sunday.
Yeah, come on out.
Let's do some yard work. Talk about the weather. It's nice.
All right, choose your useless superpower. Would you rather have the power to run 10% faster, only while holding scissors, and they have to be in your hands, running with them? You can't be in a backpack or pocket.
I've played Red Dead Redemption too many times. 10% doesn't get you that much more speed.
Yeah. Or you can control up to 10 ants at a time with your mind.
I think the ants, because as a human, I think we always want to. It feels nice to be liked. So if I just had 10 ants hanging out with me all the time like an entourage, I think from an ego standpoint that would make me feel really good.
Just bring it.
Yeah, because if I don't even have anybody to hang out with, or nobody's calling me back or something, I'm like, well, I got my ants, and they're never gonna leave me.
Yeah, you can make them laugh. You can control them.
They can't leave me. Yeah, because I can control all their movements, which becomes kind of cultish, which I do see the appeal to that also, until you start fucking all the ants.
You're starting an ant cult.
Yeah, until you start sleeping with the ants, it's fine. We're going to start a farm. They can irrigate. That's good. They're practical. Again, we're all good at different things. And I think ants give a lot of value because the 10% thing, it's not that much faster.
Yeah. And it's always awkward while you're holding scissors. You can't run in a track race. And you're running with scissors. Don't worry, they're my lucky scissors.
Yeah, I mean, practical. It's nice to have scissors around, right, in case you need to cut something. But again, I think the joy of having an entourage cult of ants would be better. It'd be fun. You can do something with that. You can make them do tricks. You can have them be an audience for you if you just want to get on a soapbox about something. There's power in there, and I think humans in general want to feel like they're in control of shit. And that's where I would go.
How fast would the speed have to be for you to take it? 50%?
I think 50% faster would be worth it. You can see a noticeable difference.
Yeah,
I don't have to drive. I can just
that's a good point. You're just running everywhere.
Yeah, and also, it depends on if I'm getting just as fatigued. Well, I guess that would if I'm running 50% faster, I still have to just be in shape, right? Like your lungs aren't going to get better or bigger or anything like that. I think 50% would be the
50%.
the number. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking like 25%.
That's a good one too. I feel like 25% would be fun. Yeah.
That's right. I was thinking too. It's like noticeable at least. We're like 10%. Man, I'll still be playing sports. There'll be people faster than me.
No doubt. But you can get away with a lot with some speed, man. I have a leg problem right now, and I think 25% would just get me back to 100%.
You're like, it's normal speed.
Cool, just getting back to even. Nice.
Yeah. All right. This next one's a good question. Would you rather randomly sit on an airbag once a week, and it just goes off, or every time you have to wipe your butt, you have to use like Carolina Reapers wipes?
Whoa. Wait, what?
You got to use like wipes dipped in Carolina Reaper sauce, or
Okay.
just randomly once a week
So
you
the
sit on
air-
an airbag and
so
it
the-
blows. It goes
but
off.
you don't know when it's gonna
You don't
go
know
off.
when it's gonna go off. It's just a random seat.
I think wipe with the Fire Reaper tissue because eventually your butt's gonna get used to it.
Oh, true. You're gonna
Yeah.
get acclimated to
Yeah,
it.
you evolve, you know?
Toughness.
I was raised in the Mormon church, but I believe in evolution, right? And I think the body can adapt to most situations. It's like living here in Colorado, right? It takes you a while to acclimate to the elevation with hydration and moisture and all that stuff, but eventually you do, you know? So I think while it would be painful at first, everybody hates scary surprises. And I don't think I want to have that hanging over. Like, instead of looking over your shoulder every day, you're just looking down.
Yeah, you're just scared to sit from now on.
Yeah.
You're always standing. You're like, come
That's-
on, take a seat at the table with grandma. And you're like,
That's-
no, I'm good.
Terrifying. Yeah.
I don't want to.
Yeah, I was gonna say jump scares are, I'm not. Are you a horror movie person? Okay, I like them, but not enough where I'm like, this is my life.
I don't want to
and-
live in a horror movie.
No, that's what that is to me. It's
Yeah.
like, at first you're like, oh, it's kind of a gag, and then eventually the psychological damage
The
that I think that would happen from that would just be unsurmountable.
Yeah.
Cheers, by the way.
Cheers.
Ching.
All right. You're stuck in a burning house. Who would you rather come save you? Peter Griffin or Michael Scott?
Michael Scott.
Michael Scott?
He wouldn't do it.
He wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, he would try, and then I think he would get scared.
Yeah.
I would be happier to see Michael Scott. Steve Carell is a great actor. I just saw. Have you seen Asteroid City? Or
No, I want to see it.
It's great.
Is it
He's
good?
in that. Yeah, it's fantastic. He's in that, and man, it's just such a joy. I think if that was the last thing that I saw, because I'm in a burning building,
Yeah.
I know I'm gonna die. In either situation,
It's a good way to go out.
In either situation, I'm gonna die.
It's
right?
better
Like,
than like a Peter Griffin cutscene where he's like eating a sandwich
Yeah.
while you're burning alive.
Neither one of these people are saving you. That's what you have to realize with the situation that you've presented, right? So it's really who is it that you want to be there when you perish?
Yeah.
And I think Steve Carell would flop.
Or maybe you
very
get
hard.
Dwight comes to save you because he comes to save Michael.
Well,
and then he
if that's the case,
gets
then
both of you
I
out.
definitely pick Michael Scott
be lucky.
because Dwight is not far behind, and he would actually help.
he'll be useful.
For all of Dwight's faults, he is the most helpful person on the entire show. He knows how to do things. Yeah, he can actually get stuff done. And whereas opposed to Michael, I think it would be Michael's idea, right? But he would probably call like a news crew ahead of time to say, hey, I'm going to save someone from a burning building. Come watch. And then he flounders as he does, and then Dwight runs in while Michael's talking on the camera, and Dwight doesn't even say anything. He just runs in,
Gets the job.
grabs a person. Michael says something to the effect of, yeah, they were unsavable. He was dead when I got in there. It was a horrible scene. You ever seen that movie? Have you ever seen Orange County?
No.
It's an old Jack Black movie. There's a scene where there's a burning building, the situation, right? And he is with I think the dean or a teacher or something, and they're hooking up in their office. Fire starts, and they run outside, fire department's there, and the fireman comes up to Jack Black and he's just like, sir, what happened in there? And he immediately is just like, that bitch is crazy. She started a fire. She's like, I'm gonna burn this mother down. I'm like, you better not. And then the fireman goes, she said it was an electrical fire. Oh, total electrical fire. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. So I'm just seeing all that going on, like while he's talking to a camera, and then Dwight just casually saves the person. And you're like, oh, he's not dead at all. Like,
Another funny bit, you should check out the Barcast on Instagram where you can see it. It's the only bit because it gets copyrighted everywhere else. But for a while when he started the podcast, me and Kurt. Kurt's never seen The Office.
Oh, okay.
So I started this bit every episode. I would tell him one story from The Office, a prank, like it was my story.
Yeah, if you can tell it well, I'm like, oh, that sounds pretty good. Like, there's a lot of good
He was
takeaways
just like,
from
what
that.
the?
Yeah,
He's like, your foot burned his foot. Your boss burned his foot on a Gary Coleman grill.
Yeah,
I'm like,
dude,
yeah,
that's so
man.
fun.
It's a great bit.
If he's unbeknownst, you're just like, wow, you live a wild life, dude.
Yeah, he's just like, wow. So I'm at the front of my office, front desk, sitting there watching The Office. Our safety manager was annoyed. So what he did was he decided to do a simulated fire drill. And then one of our accountants, he climbs up in the vents. And then she's like, fine, at least take my cat. Because she brings her cat to the office. And she throws it up into the vent.
Honestly, probably going to go down as one of the best TV shows of our lifetime, right? I haven't watched it in a while, like after it went off Netflix, but I think I watched the whole thing top to bottom like 7 or 8 times. Because it came out when I was in college, I think.
Yeah, you should watch it on a Peacock. They have the extended version, so all the episodes are like 40 minutes long.
Don't do that to me. I was gonna say I already don't have enough time in the day for a lot of things, and now I'm just gonna sit in my fucking apartment and watch The Office relentlessly.
Yeah. All right, choose your $1 million house that you live in. The house is haunted by a ghost. Or it's inhabited by a grizzly bear. Or it's next to an onion factory that always smells, even when the windows are closed.
Okay, so in the first 2 situations, are either of them paying rent?
No.
Ah, fuck. Okay. So, do you believe in ghosts?
I like to say I have because I've never seen a ghost or anything, but like all my coworkers have haunted experiences at my work. So I'm just like, we're cool, ghost. I believe you. You don't need to show me.
I think it totally depends on the ghost, right? Because if there's just if it's an entity that is living in your house, that's spooky, that's scary, they're unpredictable, right? If it's just a presence, and they're not really doing anything, then there's no harm.
They're just watching
in that.
TV with you.
Yeah, you're just existing on another plane. And when I smoke some DMT, maybe I can see them and we can like actually hang out, right?
We can get along.
You exist in a universe that is imperceptible to me at this moment, but let me fire up this crack pipe. And then we'll get there in about 10 minutes. I'll see you in a few. The grizzly bear. There have been cases, right, where people have trained bears. They're fun.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
They're nice.
You just start grilling them some steaks
But
eventually.
that seems like I love bears. I think they're so cool. Yeah. I've got a bear tattoo. I think they're rad. The problem is it's like the airbag situation where you're just constantly living with death and constantly living with that surprise. So no bear. And then the other one was onions.
Onions.
Do you really hate the smell of onions?
Yeah, I'm not a big onion fan.
I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind.
You're like, I
it.
can get used to it, I guess.
I think from a fun standpoint, I would go ghost. If I was going to go practical, I'll go onion farm because I'm going to get a bunch of onions. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't mind the smell. Eventually, again, you get used to it. Yeah. It's fine. I mean, I get used to my own farts after a couple seconds, right? Like after a while, you just get numb to it.
That's a good point there.
Yeah. I mean, we smell foul things all the time. The human body is very capable of adjusting on the fly. And I think I would go from a realistic standpoint. I would go onion.
Yeah, because I was thinking the bear. I'm like, I'll just lock him in the basement, Give him his own half of the house.
Why would you want to lock somebody in a basement?
I mean, I'm going to feed him. It's a mansion. It's $1 million house. He
That's
gets
cruel.
that part.
That's cruel as hell.
Gets the bottom half in the outdoor backyard.
That's worse than what I did to the squirrel. That's basically what I did to the squirrel. You're just adjusting the size of the room.
It's a nice big one.
It's a big room, but I mean, do you want to just be stuck in the same room you're a bear. You want to live out in the wild. You want to catch fish. You want to do stuff. Yeah. You want to climb trees.
I imagine this is like the 3 little bears since he's living in the house with me.
You're a sick fuck, dude. I was gonna say, I didn't know you were an animal abuser. Damn.
We'll just skip right to the next one then. How long do you think an immortal person could work at McDonald's before they got noticed or like before they caught on to him?
There's such high turnover at those places. He would work himself into a manager position just because he stuck it out long enough, right? That's all those jobs are. It's just like if you stuck around, you're a manager, Yeah, I mean, those people are lifers, and everybody else beneath him would just keep turning over because that's not a job that people have for the rest of their lives. I mean, they do in this economy because it's screwed, but I don't think they would ever notice.
He'd probably outlast McDonald's, honestly.
Yeah, I think like if in an apocalyptic scenario, the French fries will last. No, the burgers will last because there's a bunch of GMOs in those, right? And then this person,
He'll be there.
what's the blue guy in comic book that's escaping my mind? They came out with an HBO series about it.
The Blue Beetle?
No, he's like a god. He's like a more Dr. Manhattan. Do you know what I'm talking about? All right, so I'm gonna make up a scenario
like I
from
do,
this
though.
comic book that happened to me.
Okay.
Just like you do with everybody. In the office.
There you go.
But he lives forever. He lives for eternity, right? And people only notice because he's like a present day god, right? But if you're just trying to be a McDonald's employee, you're flying pretty under the radar.
Yeah, it'd be like corporate would have to notice. I don't think like they'd be like, why do we have this guy on the payroll for 200 years? They're like, he's a good worker. Let's keep him though.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They're all going to be so. Even if he's immortal, he will be a McDonald's lifer until such and such time when those people get old and they just die. And they're like, they're not going to be like, I wonder what happened to Frank. That's not going to happen. You know, they're going to perish, and then a new crop of McDonald's employees will come around. McRib is back again, you know, for the 100th year in a row. And is he happy?
Yeah, he's just immortal living there.
Yeah.
It's his life.
I mean, if
he likes it.
Good for him. Like if any of us can find that in our lives, right? Like you found a job that you want to stay at for eternity. That's good.
Yeah, the year's like 2050. The Grimace Shake comes out again, and he's like, "Oh God, people, you don't know what's about to happen."
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, "I've seen some shit."
This guy isn't plagued with the burden of wanting to do better in his life. He's just reached that point where he's like, "This is it." And I'm super happy with it. And that's something to be respected, you know?
Yeah. What was the first joke you ever wrote when you wanted to become a comedian?
Hell, I think... So when I first started doing stand-up, the reason I started was because at the time I wrote a lot of short stories. And I was like, oh, this would be a great way for me to test out my short stories. Because it's satire, right? Terrible idea. Telling stories is very hard. And... I'd like to think that I'm better at it now, but it was a story about, the one that's coming to mind anyway, is I had a thing about, so in my elementary school, they had a thing called Banana Splits. Banana Splits was a group of all the divorced kids in school that once a week, they would go down to like the guidance counselor's office and have ice cream to get over their parents being separated, you know? And I think there was something really strange about the name Banana Splits. I thought that was like too on the nose, right? It's like your parents split, so you want some ice cream? And it was something about that. I know I was trying to figure out like a way to like make this funny because it was such a kooky idea to me, and it still is, right? Like the idea that like, hey, you want us going to heal these wounds? And the reason I think I was talking about it was because I lied to the guidance counselor and said my parents were divorced so that I could go to Banana Splits.
So you can go get.
Yeah. And that's such a child thing to do, right?
I respect that move, though.
Across, on the other side of this wall, there are sad children eating ice cream, and I'm like, I want to be with them.
I could be with them.
I could be one of them.
That could be me.
I told the guidance counselor my parents are divorced, and like obviously they called home, and they're like, David, I had no idea that you and your husband were separated. She's like, we're not separated. Like, we have like a happy, healthy family or whatever. Yeah. She's like, Korey, why would you do that? And I'm like, in a very childlike way, I'm just because I wanted. What do you mean? Why did I do that? What do you think an 8-year-old? Why do you think an 8-year-old lied about his parents getting divorced? Because there was ice cream. Like it was that simple.
Yeah, I remember when I was little one time, like during like elementary school, the cooties era. One of the girls had a crush on my friend, and me and my other friend were getting paid 10 cents each to protect our friend from the girls.
Oh, heck yeah.
And the girl finally went up. She's like, tell you what, I'll give you $20 each.
Whoa.
To capture your friend for me.
Where'd you steal that from?
Me and my friend are like, deal.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, we just sold out, capture him.
That's a deal. Yeah, that's a great deal. And people wonder why, you know, people like just when like a war happens, they're like, how could you just go with orders? And I'm like, I don't know, they gave me $20, dude.
Yeah, but I was telling my mom about it. She's like, we're going to capture him. And my mom's like, all right, you better go get your money then.
Nice.
The next day, my mom picks me up from school. She's like, did you get your money? I'm like, yep.
What'd you do?
She's
to
like,
capture
what? We just held him down.
Oh.
And that was about it.
Yeah, how old were you?
I don't know, like elementary school, like second grade.
I'd say that's a capture.
Yeah, that was a capture.
You didn't hide him in a basement like your bear.
Yeah, but turns out she stole $20 from her brother, older brother, and gave it to me.
That money. It didn't escalate from a dime to $20 because business was going so well for her.
And then and my mom made me give it back. I was like, wow.
That's too bad. So wait, was this a guy? The kid that you captured was like a good friend of
Yeah,
yours?
we were best friends.
Were you still friends after?
Yeah.
Oh, then it doesn't doesn't matter. You just try to make a quick buck.
Yeah, we were still cool. We started protecting him the next day again.
Yeah, man.
He was paying us 10 cents again the next day.
Everything's fine.
Business was booming.
Yeah, money. It's the economy. Money flows, right? You're not going to put that on your taxes. Like, I don't even know how you write that down. Do you have to fill out a 1099 for capturing a child while you're a
Capturing
child?
friend.
Is it still kidnapping if you're also a child?
That's a good point.
I don't think it is. I think it could be, but I don't think anybody would actually prosecute you unless you did something bad to them. Yeah.
I think you'd get away with it. Do you have any hometown scandals? Like, what's that story from like your high school everybody talks about? Your hometown?
High school scandals. Like the first thing that comes to mind wasn't quite a scandal. It was I was crossing the street when I was skating in town with some friends, and there's like a main street in town, and it was a very busy day. We just got out of school, and my friend went ahead of me, just crossed the street, didn't seem to be alarmed by anything, and I was like, oh, it must be safe to cross. Yeah. It was not. And I got hit by this car, right? And I fly up on the windshield, and my face like presses up against the windshield, and there's two old ladies inside, and they just go, ah! And I go, whoa, because my face is on the glass, and they slam on the brakes. I fly off the car, bounce off the pavement, land on the sidewalk, and the reason it's not a scandal per se, but it's noteworthy, is because nothing bad. I had some contusions. It was fine, right? Kids are made of jello. And the next week, they put a crosswalk in right where I bounced off the pavement. And it didn't make, I know that they put it there for that reason, because that's where I marked, because it was an impractical crosswalk. It wasn't at an intersection. It wasn't at a lights. It was just in
Some
the
kid
middle.
jaywalking, and they're like,
Yeah, in the middle of this long stretch of road, and it existed for no apparent reason other than that. They're like, well, we don't have a lot of data on this, but that seems to be the most dangerous part based on our recent
seems to
findings.
be where kids are getting hit.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure one of our lacrosse coaches got caught sleeping with students.
Yep, that's what I was about to say, is usually these stories go to a teacher sleeping with a student.
We didn't have a lot of that, at least not like beknownst to me, Drama, I mean, you've heard my closer that I do about like getting caught smoking weed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was scandalous like in my life, because I mean I joke around about it now, but man, that sucked. That was really, to have my parents call the cops like to their own house, and then all those friends, man, they hated me, like, because they were like, you ratted us out. I didn't rat anybody out. Like, my mom knows all of you,
The most obvious suspects.
So she calls all their parents and all that jazz, and it was a big hullabaloo for like a year, and then eventually like things softened up, and I made new friends and like whatever else. But like that was bad, man. Like it sucked. I hated high school. I was not a big fan.
We have another good high school question here. This is the best question I wrote down. Have you ever pooped in someone's hat before?
Oh, bro. So you've heard that story, obviously.
Can you give us a rundown? Because the question is usually, what's your best high school prank? But it's a lot funnier when I ask it that way.
I did a lot of them. So that's the thing. I don't think I was like a bad kid. Like I wasn't getting into fights. I wasn't causing a lot of like serious problems, but I liked pranks, and I liked just fucking with people, really. And, so Matt Yando, shout out Matt, he's great. We still talk sometimes. We had, for some reason, a couple other guys that I knew the combination to Matt's locker, and we thought it would be funny to do something to his hat. Now, mind you, when you're a teenager, at least in my school or with my group of friends, poop is the funniest thing in the whole world. A well-timed fart is better than any joke I will ever write, And we decided that we were going to poop in Matt's hat, or I was going to do it. And so instead of actually pooping into the hat, I just basically got a turd, and just, I think I just had some like paper towels or something, and just like kind of used it like a crayon and just like smeared it on the inside, right? So we throw it back in his locker, period ends. We run to the locker to be like, oh man, was he going to put it on? And he did. And so he found, the guys I was with, fuck those guys. They ratted me out, even though they were there.
They ratted you as a poop bandit.
Yeah, we go down to the principal's. So it's me and Matt in the principal's office. And to Matt's credit, and I've said this before, he wasn't really that mad. He was just like, pretty silly. I just want a new hat. And I was like, oh, that seems reasonable, right? But the principal was like, man, no, you can't do that. You're gonna get in trouble for this. So that day happened to be a day where my mom didn't have a car. And Like I think one was in the shop, and my brother had taken her car to drive us to school, and they call her, and they're like, you have to come get your son. He's suspended. And she walked like 4 miles in the rain to come get me.
She had to walk to, oh man, she's going to be pissed.
Angry wet mom. And she's furious, obviously. Like, they call my brother down to the office because she needs to get the keys. And he's looks at me. He's just like, I don't think I'm coming home tonight. Like, it seems like this is going to go nuclear when you get home. And it did. And, but all in all, like, I think it was like a 5-day suspension. And then I'm back in school. Like I said, Matt and I, like, when I told that story on my podcast, Interrogation True Crime Stories, Matt had messaged me. He's like, I've been waiting for you to tell this story.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, good. I'm glad that I could do that for you.
I finally done it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so since you do an interrogation true crime podcast, and that, what is the craziest story somebody's ever confessed to you, like at a live show, and what's your favorite?
So one of the things that happens with the show a lot is the format. At one of the segments of the show, we give everybody my phone number, and then they text in their own crimes, right? Yeah. So once people see how that's going, they're usually willing to confess to more. So what happens a lot is somebody will text in something fairly innocuous, and then like 20 minutes later, they'll be like, well, statute of limitations is up. Let's just go for it, One of the previous, more recent shows that we had done, somebody texted in, first time I ever smoked weed was when I stole a QP from my dad. Pretty docile. I mean, silly, goofy. What do you make a joke about that? And then 15 minutes later, he said, well, whatever. When we were kids, we burned down a sewage treatment plant. I'm like, whoa. Now, I always keep it anonymous, but for certain ones, I ask, I'm like, does anybody want to fess up to that? So we can just keep making jokes about
keep it going.
And I mean, it was honestly incredibly innocent, right? It was something I think any kid would have done by accident, where they were lighting fireworks off in a field, and they were done, right? And they would go to leave, and they turn around, and they're like, oh, that's a really big fire.
Yeah.
There was lighting fireworks off in the woods, near. I lived in a neighborhood kind of like that too. There was like a plastic plant in our town, right? So if you lived in that area and you wanted to go play out in the woods, you would probably be near the plastic plant.
Yeah, that's where you go.
Yeah, I mean, that's
what you do as kids.
It's around, yeah. A fun one that I like to tell is when somebody had texted in, used to sell fake edibles to high school kids. They were Costco brownie bites. I was like, that's so fun. I don't even know if that's really a crime, right?
That's hilarious.
Just duping children.
I think you're clean on that, yeah.
It's hilarious. I think that's hilarious, right?
The cops arrest you, you're like, here, take one. They're great.
Last one, somebody had stolen an ambulance and then got arrested, and on their way, getting pulled out, into the car, they shouted out, I'm the fastest ambulance in the county. That's fun. That's just a good time.
I am speed.
Sometimes people will text in really bad stuff, and I try to filter that out, because the whole point of the show is to just shed some light and kind of humanize the fact that we all do dumb things and we all make mistakes, whether you got caught for it or not. And we're just trying to make light of everybody making you did something stupid at one point in your life, and that's okay. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah. A couple funny ones I got on the internet for you, some crimes that I saw recently.
Hell yeah.
This robber got arrested after he robbed this girl, and then at gunpoint he told her to add her on Facebook.
Oh, nice.
And then he hit her up that night and said, you were too pretty to be robbed.
Whoa.
We should hang out.
Did they go on a date?
No, she just gave the cops his number because she took your purse.
Listen, I think apps are useful for a lot of things, right? Meeting people in person is really hard, and I've seen people try to hit on other people at bars and stuff, and I'm like, man, maybe you should have had a gun. At least at that point you'll have something to talk about,
It's a conversation starter.
Because your personality is lame.
So
right?
how did we meet? Oh, he robbed me.
A card-carrying NRA member, that has absolutely happened to somebody, and it worked. Yeah. That's the thing. It's we're picking fun at this one because it didn't work. Yeah. But man, if you go out to the sticks, there's definitely been times, whether it was on purpose or not, somebody pointed a gun at somebody else and they're like, this guy's hot. Yeah. Somebody get a mop. My pussy is soaking wet,
And then another one I saw was this Ohio man got arrested after his house got foreclosed on, and he rigged the house with Indiana Jones booby traps for the cops when they came to it.
Oh, like Home Alone style.
No, like Indiana Jones. So
Why
the
Indiana
front of the
Jones?
house had a tripwire set up to a bunch of hot tubs on top of a hill that would come
What?
rolling down.
Hot tubs.
Yeah, so it had a bunch of hot tubs, like a giant boulder coming rolling at you.
Isn't it a square?
I guess he had round hot tubs. I don't
Okay,
know.
I was gonna say, like, I feel like that's just like
That's a good point. I didn't
I'm
even
really
think of
bad
that.
at science. It's not my forte, and I'm bad at math. I'm not good with equations, but it seems like that's just gonna stop rolling at a
Just
certain
square hot
point.
tub.
How steep is this hill?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
It's
I
gotta-
didn't see
you
the
gotta be-
picture of the hill.
Cooking a lot of velocity there to get a square to roll down a hill like that.
Yeah, it was Home Alone style too, though, because he got arrested because he had spikes everywhere, and then he also had a wheelchair rigged up to a shotgun that shot a cop in the knee.
Fun.
When he opened the
Anecdotally,
door.
the hot tub thing, it just made me think of something else. So I have two brothers. We all were kind of the same, and we did stupid stuff in our neighborhood just because it was fun. My cousin and my little brother, they had a tractor tire. Our neighbors had a tractor tire swing when we were growing up. Eventually it fell off. They never put it back up. So our neighbor, my cousin, and my little brother thought it would be a fun idea to roll it down the hill that we lived on, not thinking of any of the consequences. This thing picks up a ton of speed. I wasn't there. I wish I was. And it hit the house at the bottom of the hill. And I'm just like, that's brilliant, but also like so dumb. So dumb. man.
Genius for a couple of minutes there, or seconds.
Yeah. I mean, if you are smart enough to set up all those booby traps in your house, do it, man. Like, I think, again, human life is fun, as fun as you want to make it, right? I don't know how to do any of that stuff.
Yeah, I
right?
couldn't
If
tell you how to do that.
If I did, I think I would totally have my house set up for booby traps because my house is made of freaking cardboard. I live in an old apartment in Denver, right? And there's no security to that place whatsoever. So if I can create security mechanisms in place, I would absolutely do that.
That would deter people.
Well, not until they get inside.
After, yeah, the
Yeah.
second time around.
Yeah, you better kill them on the first shot. I don't want somebody to like try to figure out all the mechanisms I have in my house. I think if you're gonna set up booby traps, it should be like instant kill.
Yeah.
Like on the first one. Like otherwise, what's the point?
Otherwise, they're gonna come back. It's
Unless
a
he's
game.
watching this from like a camera, like he's in a room and he's got cameras set up in the he has to have cameras set up in the house. There's no way this doomsday prepper doesn't have cameras set up everywhere, right? So he's watching it like an NHL official, like in Boston, right, where they're looking for a call that's happening on the ice, and he's just like, let's just see what happens next, and he's just got popcorn. It's like Saw, this guy's just having a field day watching this on a monitor.
Yeah, I imagine it's a shitty monitor too, not even like a TV.
It's grainy. It's grainy as hell. It has to be. No high definition for this guy.
Yeah, and then the last funny one I have too. It's not really a story, but it's a Ring camera footage. It'll be on screen right here.
Okay.
But this this guy robbed a Dollar Tree, and the manager tracked him down, and he
Mm-hmm.
was riding away on his bike, and then the manager ran him over with their car.
For $1?
Well,
That
he
lady
robbed
was
it.
having
It was the
a-
Dollar Tree store.
The manager, did he rob the store or did he rob the dollar?
He
did
robbed the Dollar Tree. Like, he just shoplifted a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
And the manager just knocked him off his bike. And
Not
then
worth
the
it,
guy's like,
dude.
what the hell? He's like, I'm suing you.
That
and she's
person,
like,
that person is immortal and will work at Dollar Tree for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
That's who that person is. They take that job very seriously.
Oh, man.
Which, again, if I understand, like, being hopeless at Dollar Tree and thinking, I don't care enough about this to want to do anything about it, because that's usually what they do.
Yeah,
You're not
exactly.
supposed to do anything.
there's no
about
way
it.
they get paid enough to do
You're
that.
not even supposed to touch them, let alone hit them with a car.
Track
right?
him down too.
Yeah,
Into
so-
the neighborhood.
Man, but sometimes you just catch people on the wrong day. They're probably a nice, pleasant person, employee of the month,
Yeah.
probably, right? They're
Two-time,
recogni-
back-to-back.
recognized in their company nationally, but you just caught her on a day where they screwed up her order at Chick-fil-A and she's getting a divorce, and that was the only thing that was going to make it better, and they screwed it up. And now you stole from her store, might come out of her pay. Good for her. Taking accountability for her life and her livelihood takes her job very seriously, and I respect that.
I'm just glad it got caught on camera.
Yeah, how did
That was
it
the
get
best
caught
part.
on
It was a
camera?
Ring camera. Like a doorbell.
Oh, so that was like
I'll
it
show
happened
you
in front of
here
somebody's
after.
house?
Yeah.
Oh, man. What a scene.
And then you have him arguing on camera too. It's hilarious.
So the guy didn't die.
No, she just knocked him off the bike.
Okay. That's fine.
A nice love tap.
Yeah, she didn't kill the dude. It was just like, hey man, not today, not my store, right? And then to have
You
all
probably were
this-
imagining at first him just running and getting ran over.
Oh, I imagined this guy flying like 100 feet, you know, like me when I got hit by that car. And what a scene to walk into. Like, I tell a story about like a fight that I saw in my neighborhood one time, and you're just like, you were just having a casual day.
Yeah.
Maybe having some lemonade on the porch, playing with your dog, and now all of a sudden you're dealing with this, like in the front of your house. And I don't even know. Do I just watch? I think you just watch.
I think you just watch.
And then eventually you're just kind of like, hey guys, is this dumb, or do we need to get police involved? You know, hopefully he's not black, otherwise I'm not going to call the cops because this is going to turn way worse. You know, and what a scene to just kind of like happen to appear on your
Just
doorstep.
on your doorstep.
Yeah.
All right, last question before going to our last segment. This is a good one. I almost forgot. Is being a Mormon or ex-Mormon, have you ever soaked before?
I haven't, but I have fallen asleep during sex before, so that counts, I think.
That counts.
It wasn't intentional, you know, just had a couple drinks. I thought after 8 shots of whiskey, physical exercise was a good idea at 2 a.m, you know, so never intentionally. My little brother went to BYU, so he can verify that the soaking is real. It's not a myth, if you will. I personally have never actively tried to, because in order for...
Have you ever helped anybody?
No, I never auto-soaked. I was never, like, I didn't go to BYU, right? So, like, I was never really in that world. But I think in order to use the term soaking, that was you have to have that intention going into it.
To soak.
Like, we're going to kind of have sex.
Yeah.
But we're not going to move. We're not going to move. You have to, that's a plan. That's what you planned that. It wasn't because you just didn't know what you were doing, right? Because that can happen too, right? Like, if you're young and you have no idea, you have no sexual experience, like, you might have soaked on accident. Yeah, you're just like, I don't know what to do here, you know, until somebody gives me some instructions. I'm going to sit here. This feels nice, you know? It's not the worst place to be stuck, if you will.
Yeah.
So no soaking on my part. I like to think that I have a more fun romantic life than that.
Yeah. Let's go into our last segment of the podcast here, which is our copycat segment of the week. It's where we do a segment from another podcast on ours because we're not original.
Oh, did you take mine?
No. It is actually on my list to do.
You kind of already did.
Yeah, we kind of did. It's a double one. I mean, we're on the same theme. So for this copycat segment, I mean, yeah, we'll say we're copying yours because I don't even know what podcast I'm copying.
All good.
We're going to be doing Guess the Crime.
Oh, that's kind of like my show.
Yeah, so what I got
But
here...
yours is more popular than mine, so you can take the idea.
Yeah, so what I got here, it's going to look a lot better on camera, is 5 criminals.
Uh-huh.
And I have...
Oh, it's like Guess Who?
Yeah, and I have the weapons that were used for their assault.
Okay, so all these people assaulted other people.
And these are their mugshots, and these are the 5 weapons, and we got to decide, and I'll give the answers after. I haven't even looked at it, so I can actually guess.
All right,
wow, it's
so
windy. This is great.
It is windy.
So let's start with the far right.
This guy looks like a soda drinker.
Soda drinker, just
Yeah,
the
he
notion.
he doesn't look well. He looks like he has diabetes or smokes a lot of meth, and I think when you do a lot of drugs, anything sweet sounds
So
very
yeah,
nice.
I could see that.
This guy, one of these two is the golf club because they look like they would belong at a country club.
I was thinking the guy in the left, the blue, because he has the polo on.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah,
So,
he looks
yeah.
like he just got off the green.
He got off the
right?
green, had a rough game, and then beat up his partner.
Yeah, all right. So what's prickly? Because this guy's got stuff on his forehead.
He's got prickly. We got Frank's Red Hot, a broom, or a crib.
Well, only because the broom has bristles, and this guy's got dots all over his forehead, like he has herpes
Yeah, I could
between
see
his
that.
eyes. I think
That was a broom fight.
That's the broom fight. This guy does not like his child, so we're gonna put the
Yeah.
crib there, and then just by default, this guy
Frank's Red Hot.
smashed somebody in the head with Frank's Red Hot.
I respect using that as a weapon, though.
Oh, that's double because not only do you get hit with the glass, it's gonna hurt a lot
Yeah,
afterward.
the double.
All the vinegar
It's like
is
a
gonna get
poison
into your
dart.
cuts. Yeah, the pain's gonna keep going.
It's a
like,
modern day poison dart.
It's like
Frank's
Agent
Red
Orange,
Hot.
dude. It's like it might sting right now, but it's gonna get way worse later.
Oh, we're just beginning. All right, so and our answers here. Do-do-do.
Oh, I got one.
We got
Oh, I
one.
got 3 right.
We got 3 of them.
We got 3. It's
Okay.
like I got the Dr. Pepper and the broom wrong, so I'm wondering what happened to this guy's head because it looks stabby, like prongs, that are on his forehead. So I'm wondering.
Maybe
how
he was fighting this guy with the broom.
Well, I'm
He
surprised
was
with the
hitting
broom
him.
with this guy because he doesn't look like he's cleaned anything in his entire life.
Yeah, he doesn't look.
Well, maybe that's why he's never like he doesn't even know what that thing is called. I picked up the stick with the twigs on the end of
And
it.
he just started.
Just starts whacking.
It's like, good enough.
Yeah, man. All right, I feel pretty good about that. 3 out of 5 ain't bad, dude.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's pretty good. Last time we wrote 0 for 5, so that's an improvement.
Boom. Hey, high score, baby.
Yeah. All right, that's been all for this episode of the podcast. Don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify, check us out on YouTube as we're giving away a toaster at 10K on
Nice.
YouTube. And Corey, anything you want to shout out, tell me where to find you. It'll be all linked down below.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. So KoreyDavid.com is my website. If you want to follow any of my Instagram stuff or YouTube, it's fake Korey David. Everything's with a K. I'm sure that'll be in the title or whatever. Interrogation True Crime Stories is going great. I tour with that all over the country, so keep an eye out for those shows. The podcast, Interrogation True Crime Stories. And then last thing, I guess, would be... Oh, I run a bi-weekly comedy show here in Denver called Late Night Comedy at Bandit Oak Brewing. We are rebranding it in August to Comedy Garage. So if you want to get some insider information on what's going on with that, it's Comedy Garage Denver on Instagram. Yeah, shows every other Friday at 9 o'clock, and it's really, really fun. So.
Awesome. Subscribe. Do-do-do.